What is it that draws us to these outdoor adventures? Why do we spend so much time and effort and money in these outdoor sports that we love? Perhaps it's the scream of that majestic elk in the cool mist of the mountain air. Perhaps it's the gobble echoing through the hardwoods in the last moments before dawn. Still yet, there's always that adrenaline rush that we experience when that pooping young whitetail steps out of the woods just before dusk. But have you ever stopped to contemplate the one who made it all for us to enjoy? We are Decision Point Outdoors, and we want to introduce you to the God of the creation that we love and enjoy on this, our inaugural season.
What a trophy. Can't wait to see this thing on the wall. Hey folks, we're so glad you joined us for another episode of Decision Point Outdoors. I've really been looking forward to this one. This one is me and Mark headed down to South Texas to pursue some exotic species. But look, we got a special name for these next two episodes. We're calling it our Redemption Series. Why? Because, to be quite honest, we're like many of you. We had some failed hunts earlier in the year, and we're headed back to try to redeem ourselves and seal the deal on a couple of these exotic species. So, I'm up to bat first. You're gonna get to watch me pursue Blackbuck Antelope. Now, there's something really kind of cool I gotta tell you about this. I'm pursuing the Blackbuck Antelope as the final animal within my Cazador slam. If you've never heard of this, it's kind of a unique slam. It's about Texas exotics, also known as the Texotics. But, so it's 5 species. There's the aoudad, the axis, there's the fallow deer, the sika, or some people call it the sika deer, and there's also the one I'm after, the blackbuck antelope, to seal the deal and close them out. I've done all the other 4. I need to seal this one. So you're gonna get to see some of my other hunts along the way as well. But this was me closing out my Cazador slam. So come with me, we're gonna have a great time in South Texas. There's an opening right there. Goes to another side road. We're gonna try to get through there and cut off these blackbuck if we can. So I've never shot an elk before. And here I am standing, 35, 40 yards from a cow elk. That was our first attempt at trying to spot and stop blackbuck. We know this is not going to be easy, but we're not going to give up. We're going to give it a shot. We got several days left to try this. What happened was, as we headed out, we had the blackbuck in one corner of the area. Really figured we could kind of circumvent them, go around, get to where we figured they were going. We spotted 2 blackbuck doe that ran past us maybe at 50, 60 yards. Well, not really ran past, they kind of walked past, but lost them in the woods, tried to cut them off again, didn't succeed. But man, we had some cool things happen tonight. Got to see the cow elk really up close and got to see the blackbuck. So we're getting closer than having not done it before. So I guess the cow elk have decided to join us as we finish this first stop. They just won't leave us alone. Hey, can you saddle up a black buck for us? You know, I'd be thankful if they would just kind of kick them on out here to us or something. Come on. Help a brother out, would you? All right, next time.
Sharp, tight, and priced just right. Athlon, ridiculously good optics.
So it's been awesome to see Chappy hunting this black buck and getting redemption on the one that evaded him last year. But we're going to do a quick cutaway, and we're going to go with a good pastor friend of mine, Clint McCoy. We're down in Texas, our favorite state for Decision Point Outdoors. We're down in Texas, and Clint is going to put the whammy on a good free-range black buck.
I'm gonna drive about 8 hours tonight, and then I'm gonna go the rest of the way tomorrow. So I'll leave out real early in the morning, and by the time I get there, it'll probably be about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock maybe. So hoping to make some good time today, praying for it's a good, safe trip. Been a busy morning thus far. We had a good day at church this morning. So I just basically wrapped up there, come home, ate a bite of food, loaded everything in the car, and here I am. So hopefully we'll be able to make some good time and have a good, safe trip and maybe fill our freezer. So we'll see ya.
But they've been eating them faster and faster now. I put them here and they don't, you know, you can look at the ground, how tore up it is.
All right, guys, well, we made it here. We're here in Sonora, Texas. And we just got set up in the blind. Got the camera up, got everything ready. The feeder just went off. The first night produced action in almost the first 20 minutes of the sit. We had some whitetail does move in, followed by a couple of whitetail bucks. And then we had some axis does and some young axis bucks that moved in, followed by a big, mature axis buck. Unfortunately, as you'll see, he was missing half of his rack. Now, if he had his other side, my hunt would have been over in the first afternoon.
Lord, Sarah and Jonah and Noah all killing tonight. Lord, I pray that you would give us a bountiful harvest in the morning.
When I got back to camp, we found that 3 of the hunters tagged out the very first night of the hunt. 2 big whitetail bucks and a blackbuck antelope were taken.
Just waiting for a good buck to come, nothing did. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna shoot one of these does. I was gonna shoot one in the head because the kids want a rug, you know.
Yeah.
Well, then they shot curlicue there and
After some dinner and some time sitting around the campfire, we turned in early to get some rest before the next morning hunt. The first morning in the blind proved to be absolutely incredible. Within moments of daylight, we saw whitetail deer, followed by a massive flock of Texas turkey. They moved in and absolutely surrounded our blind. Now, if you'll pay attention, you'll see a big buck that moves into the area. Now, me personally, I was hunting for an exotic, and so my attention was completely focused on an exotic. But Wesley, who was with me, he wanted to shoot that buck so bad. But by the time that we got the go-ahead that we could take this whitetail, the big buck had already moved off. Now, this is where my attention was at. I was fully focused on this big axis buck. But if you'll notice his antlers, he wasn't fully tipped out, or his velvet wasn't done growing, and so he wasn't a candidate to harvest. But it made for some really good film and for some really good entertainment. Now, this is where the story gets really interesting. There was a particular black buck that I was trying to connect with. Now, we hadn't been in the blind for very long when we looked up at the very end of the Sindora. Mark said, "Hey, there is your black buck." We get out of the blind and make a stalk on this black buck. He's already turned the corner and was going down to another feeder. Now, by the time I actually get to the blind, remember the wind at this time, you can tell, is blowing really hard in my face, so things are actually really good for me. But when I get to the blind, there was no black buck. He had already moved off again. So I climb into the blind with Kelly Brooks. What are you doing here, man? You want to kill a black buck? I'd love to. Now, to spice things up a little bit more, the black buck actually came back around within about 20 minutes of me getting into the blind. He did not offer a shot because he basically just ran past us. But it was not that much longer that he came back out from my left to my right and circled around the feeder and would soon present me with a shot. All I needed was a split second of a good broadside shot to bring the chase to a close. Thanks for following along with me on this bucket list hunt. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
I started hunting when I was 5. My dad was born and raised out at our farm. He's hunted and fished his whole life, as well as myself. Our family has hunted our property for the past 100 years. It's been a family tradition to go out each and every year, and I look forward to passing that on to my family and the next generation. Success in hunting is not defined by what you kill, but the tradition that is born.
Hey folks, welcome back. So, as you've been seeing so far, if nothing else, I'm a resilient bow hunter. I love my stalking opportunities. And as you've seen, Mark has really been picking on me about this, and I'm not really doing all that great at it. But bottom line, we're gonna head back out and I'm gonna keep on trying to stalk after these black buck. But to make it a little bit interesting for this segment, I'm gonna do something for you guys. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the program that I started called Chappy's Outdoors. We take wounded, ill, and injured veterans out on hunting opportunities all across the nation. It's been a great opportunity for me to spend time with my fellow wounded veterans. I love it. Now, on this particular trip, we've got several veterans with us. So what I was doing was I was going out and filming them in the mornings and in the evenings, and during the middle of the day, what you've been watching was I've been going out on these stalks for the black buck that were bedded down. I just didn't want to ruin the chance to hunt with the veterans, so I used only the middle parts of the day to get the stalk done. Now here's the thing. What we'll do is I'll take you on a couple of the different trips with these veterans just to keep it kind of interesting, because after all, the stalking wasn't going well, as you'll continue to see here. All right, everybody. Look, another failed stalking attempt on my black buck. I know it sounded like a broken record here, but bottom line is I'm gonna pull you away from this real quick and I'm gonna introduce you to one of our wounded veterans, Steve, who's been trying to go on hunts with us for years. And we finally got him on this hunt down in Texas, where we're gonna show you how he gets to make this really cool long shot on a really big hog we called Lucky on this ranch. And then he also gets to join me a little bit later that same day in a ground blind where he's chasing after a bucket list hunt of his own, which was an axis buck. So let's go watch Steve now.
can take him when you're ready. Go ahead. Down. He dropped in his tracks, brother.
Thanks.
Awesome shot. Awesome shot.
Yes, man.
Yes! Yes! Oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you. Oh, man, that was a good shot. I know it was. Yes, baby. Woo!
That was really exciting stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. We're gonna go lay some hands on some horns. Let's make this happen.
Let's do it, man. I'm just very blessed to have harvested such a gorgeous animal, and I can't thank you guys enough.
We tried to put on another stock and see if we could get a black buck down too. You know, I think these things just got my number or something. All right, folks, so it came down to the final day of the hunt, and I'd had it with stalking these black bucks. So I'm headed back out with the rifle, but listen really closely on this last clip that you're gonna see. It's not always that easy to seal the deal on these things because we're trying to get it on film for y'all, and it just didn't come together.
All right, well, give me a second. I ain't got no footage yet.
Yeah, we're gonna get footage.
Can't let him get away. Kill him. No, no, no.
Are you one of those people that has to know how everything works? With my iPhone, I can't figure out how everything works. I can't understand how I can call somebody and talk into this box, and my voice waves just go into this little box and then shoot across the universe and then go into somebody else's phone and they can understand what I'm saying. I got to be honest, I can't tell you how everything works. But if you're one of those people that wants to know how the most important thing in the universe works, then you ought to come and visit Grace Point Baptist Church, because Grace Point doesn't have answers maybe about your cell phone, and as a pastor, I really can't figure all this out. But I can tell you somebody who does, and I can introduce you to somebody who does know how everything works, and that's the God of this universe. And we would love to introduce you to him at 5415 Valley Station Road. Maybe you need to reconnect with the church, maybe you need to reconnect with the Lord, or maybe you need to connect for the first time. Grace Point Baptist Church will be the place for you to figure out how really the most important thing in this universe works, and that is how God has saved us. Connect to him, Grace Point Baptist Church.
All right, so it's about a year later, and I've decided to head back to Texas and get some redemption on closing out this Cazador Slam. I wanted to seal the deal on a black buck. So this time I'm headed out. I've got Mark, I've got Luke, I've got a bunch of friends with me on this one, and I'm not taking my bow, and I'm not stalking anymore. I'm taking out the Meredith rifle, and we're finishing this thing.
Okay, so you notice we spooked our black buck away. Our blind is right here. I think you can see it right here. Had we been here this morning before daylight, we'd have got it. Had we not needed to get it on film, I'd have just shot it. But that's the game you gotta play. will end that deer. Let's do it. Come on, where are you? He's down. He's down. Yeah. Meredith rifles, 6.5 PRC. I'm going to tell you guys, these are some great guns. Did the job. Completed my Cazador Slam. What a beast. Oh, he's got some great mass on that. Look at that.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining us on Decision Point Outdoors with a couple great kills on some black bucks with Chappy and Clint. But I want to talk to you about the second chance that both of them had. Both of them, their first attempt failed. Maybe in life, you've had some failed attempts. Maybe it's a failed family matter, maybe it's a failed financial matter, maybe you've got some physical failings in your life and you just don't seem to be able to get over the hump, so to speak. The good news about God is He's a God of the second chance. I think about how He came to Elijah, and when Elijah was discouraged, He touched him, and He touched him again and gave him a second chance. In the book of Daniel, in chapter number 10, He touched him twice and He gave him a second chance. Maybe you need a second chance with God. Maybe you need a second chance at life. I'm glad to tell you that Decision Point Outdoors, if you'll go to our website, decisionpoint.com, you can see how God has given you a second chance. Maybe the first attempt didn't work and you need to now connect with God or connect with the church, and maybe you had when you were younger and you need to reconnect again. I'm glad that God, no matter how far we've run and no matter what we've done, God gives us a second chance at redemption. These black buck, Chappy finally got redemption on his, and Clint killed his first Texas exotic. So it's been a great episode, but I want you to join us next week as I had 2 failed attempts on my Aoudad in 2019, but was able to finally connect in 2020, and it's one of my best shots on film, over 400 yards. Hope you'll join us next week for the Redemption Series Part 2.